What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing us a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below, the best gaming related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. As I've said in the past, guys, one of my most anticipated games of 2020 is Watch Dogs Legion for a number of reasons. Number one being, guys, that this, I believe, is going to be a game that redefines the franchise as a whole, coming from the first couple of games, really coming off of Watch Dogs 2, a game that was set in Chicago, and I don't think that Chicago really does well as far as a video game is concerned, being based in, even though Chicago, guys, I absolutely love as a city itself, and I've visited there many times. But I think they're kind of redefining this franchise in a way in which being in London post-Brexit, I think is a great idea. And I think it brings so much opportunity for this franchise to continue to expand and get bigger and bigger as we go. And I've said that, guys, on a number of occasions. This is a game that I'm very anticipated for, and I know a lot of other people are as well. This is a game, guys, that we believe could be one of the top games this year. And what I'm going to ask the question is, and I want you all to give me what you guys think in the comment section below, is where is Watch Dogs Legion at this point? It's been delayed once again, which a number of games, it seems like every AAA title that's going to be coming out is being delayed, which is another issue for another time. I've talked on multiple occasions about how much that bothers me as a consumer, guys, and as a fan of these franchises, to see games that are AAA titles get delayed so much. I feel like the developers really need to kind of stick to a date, so to speak, similar to like what the movie industry does. And I know we're not there quite yet, but hopefully we get there pretty soon. Nonetheless, though, guys, I believe Watch Dogs Legion is currently still, obviously, in active development. They're trying to get this game made. Obviously, with the pandemic going on in our world, I mean, probably it might even be delayed even to 2021, which is a big question mark. Because if you go on their website, guys, that being Watch Dogs Legion's website on Ubisoft, you'll see, guys, that they've got Xbox One, PS4, PC download. You can do Ubisoft Uplay or the PC download through either Epic Games Store or the Ubisoft Store. And what they're saying is basically this game's going to be coming out before the Xbox Series X and the PS5 come out, which at this point I feel like it should be a launch title with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, in my personal opinion. But at this point, it looks like they're still considering, or they're still planning on bringing this game out at some point this year before, obviously, the holiday of 2020, which is when these other consoles come out, which is very interesting. So I would say, guys, at this point, it seems like unless we are told at some point or another, which I'm sure we're going to be given updates as we go here, I wouldn't be surprised if Watch Dogs Legion is actually delayed into 2021 simply because of the pandemic, but also, guys, just because they want to have more time to work on the game. And when a lot of people are working from home and maybe not being able to do quite as much work as they normally would in an actual environment where everyone else is doing the exact same thing in a studio environment, I think that this game, as to where it is at this point, I believe it's potentially going to be delayed once again, which is really unfortunate. I want this game to come out so bad, because I'm really excited about it. And I've been saying that on a number of occasions that Watch Dogs Legion is one of my most anticipated games this year. And it's on the kind of that short list. And guys, I've never felt that way about a Watch Dogs game. The first two Watch Dogs games that came out, I mean, sure, they seemed like they were pretty cool, kind of a little bit of a ripoff of The Division, a little bit as far as the mechanics are concerned. The story was very intriguing, but it just never grasped me in a way in which I wanted to actually buy a copy. I rented both the Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2 and actually just rented those games, and they were exactly what I thought they would be. They were pretty good stories, okay multiplayer game modes. I was hoping for something a little bit more, which Watch Dogs Legion seems like it's going to be maybe all of that, the best of all those worlds, and this is the first Watch Dogs game that I'm looking at purchasing myself, and I'm very excited about it. But at this point, guys, I think if you're a fan of Watch Dogs, and you're as excited as I am for Watch Dogs Legion, I think that we might have to wait a little bit longer. Now, The positive side of this is that on the website and all these other places, it's stating that it's going to be coming out this year, and that's going to be launching on Xbox One and PS4, and then of course on PC. So that's telling you that it hasn't been something that is going to be a launch title as of yet, and it's not coming out, obviously in 2021, because if it did, then it would obviously be launching on Xbox Series X and PS5. But let me know what you guys think. What do you guys want to see the most in Watch Dogs Legion, and when do you think we're going to be able to get our hands on the title? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more Watch Dogs Legion content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Jedi Fallen Order was such a refreshing take in the Star Wars franchise based around, of course, the video game industry, and that is something, guys, that's really certainly exciting for myself, and I know for a lot of other people who love Star Wars. Moving forward into the future of the Star Wars games, what can we kind of expect moving forward? And I'm going to give you guys some takes on what I believe really should happen in Jedi Fallen Order 2, which has already been confirmed. So let's talk about it. So in an article that was written by Thomas Franzese of Inverse, Jedi Fallen Order sequel confirmed, a new report amid release date rumors. Respawn Entertainment's Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order had a lot to prove when it was released last November. EA had struggled with the critical reception to Star Wars Battlefront and its sequel, and the company did not seem to have much faith in a single-player game with no microtransactions or season pass. But Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order proved itself quite a success, and Kotaku is now reporting that there will be a sequel. What's more is that a release date might already be on the calendar. So here's what I'm going to say, guys. It's incredible what Respawn is doing as a company. They are doing incredible things, guys, not only with Apex Legends, but of course Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Now, I had a lot of criticisms of Jedi Fallen Order, even though I love the game as a whole. It's way better than Star Wars Battlefront and Battlefront 2. However, what I will give Battlefront, not the second one, but the first one at least, a little, nod, is some of the other ways in which you can kind of course, kind of connect with the franchise. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, guys, doesn't have anything other than the single-player story. And not to mention, the single-player story was so buggy that it was really difficult for me to even get through certain portions of the game. Now, if you get past all those things, it's an incredible campaign, and they did a fantastic job. Best campaign in a Star Wars game, in my opinion, maybe since the Knights of the Old Republic. Just really well done. Now, the other thing is that no multiplayer, which is a real bummer because I really would have loved to see Respawn's take on a Jedi Fallen Order multiplayer. It's just Star Wars multiplayer in general, because obviously these are the guys who make Titanfall, they're the guys who make Apex Legends, multiplayer juggernauts. Why not see that in Jedi Fallen Order? And I really hope that we see that in the second one. According to Kotaku's report, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2 is one of the 2 Star Wars games still in active development at EA. Many of the publisher's Star Wars games run into issues during development or right out at launch. But Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order bucked that trend for the most part. It will be the genesis of its own sub-series like Battlefront. Star Wars leaker blog Bespin Bulletin also reported over the weekend that the sequel would be released in fall of 2022. So far, EA believes that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order will sell 10 million units before the end of March. The game outperformed EA's expectations, with CFO Blake Jorgensen voicing his pleasure at the game's success in the company's latest financial call. Sales of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order significantly beat our expectations, he said. We had forecast 6 million to 8 million units for the fiscal year, but to hit the high end of that in the third quarter, and now we anticipate selling around 10 million units in the fiscal year, a very strong result for a single-player action game. Now, what I will say, guys, is it did sell very well. It reminds me of God of War. It reminds me of when they brought God of War back in 2018. This was a game that there was taking a lot of risks, taking a lot of chances, only having a single-player story, and it sold really well. But I think a lot of those success stories with just a single-player story and nothing else other than that are few and far between. And I think that Star Wars obviously has a very strong brand, so obviously people are going to go to it whether it's a single-player story or whether it's a multiplayer, co-op modes, full package deals. I really believe, though, Respawn should take this opportunity with Jedi Fallen Order 2 and should really do a multiplayer experience, maybe some co-op experiences. obviously you don't want that to suffer at the expense of, like, say, the campaign or something. You want the campaign to be really strong, but you also want to be able to come back to the franchise and continue playing, whether that's the multiplayer or the co-op modes. You don't want someone just to play the campaign a couple times through, play it on like a casual difficulty and then one of the harder difficulties, and then decide just to leave right after that or go to a different game. That's the thing with Jedi Fallen Order. For myself, I played it twice, and then after I beat it 2 times, I decided to move on to another game because there was nothing else to do, really, as far as, nothing else as far as like a multiplayer or co-op experience, which is what really brings you back to that franchise. So, even though EA and Respawn Entertainment likely won't unveil for years, it wouldn't be a surprise if a sequel to the game is already in development. The single-player game outperformed EA's expectations and was their first console Star Wars release to not be riddled with controversy or cancellation in some way. As such, it may be a good brand new keep around as EA continues to produce Star Wars games. The Kotaku report was scarce on any further Jedi Fallen Order 2 details, but it's likely that it only started development last year as work on the first game wrapped up. Because of that, don't expect to see it very soon or on current-gen platforms like the PS4 and Xbox One. There is a lot of refinement that could be made to the first game's formula in a sequel, so Jedi Fallen Order 2 will be rife with potential whenever it comes around, probably on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. So look, guys, I'm excited. I really am. I'm excited about Jedi Fallen Order 2. I just hope that they really take what worked well and continue with that, but also add more ways that you can connect with the franchise. And that's the biggest thing for me, guys. And you'll probably notice this common theme on my YouTube channel. When I talk about a lot of these games that have like really strong single-player stories, if they don't have anything else other than a single-player story, I'm really stressing that there needs to be more ways you can connect with that franchise. When you think about a game like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, you think EA or, Respawn, they really want people to go to a different game after beating the campaign one time through? No, they want people to stay on that game and continue playing it. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, they want to just get your money, whether that's, $60 for the game and you're paying for just a single player experience. All in all, it comes down to money, but at the same time, they still want you to come back to their games. Respawn wants you to come back to Apex Legends, which is only a multiplayer experience. And I've said this on multiple occasions. Apex Legends, sure, multiplayer is what drives people, brings people back to a game. But having a single-player story for Apex Legends, something that ties into Titanfall, or, even co-op modes and such, I really think that those are ways that you do like real world building and bringing people together and just growing communities like wildfire. So that's my personal opinion on it, though, guys. I would love to hear your opinions on that. What do you guys want to see from Jedi Fallen Order 2? Do you want them to add multiplayer and co-op modes? Or would you rather just stick with a single-player story? Let me know what you guys think. And for more Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2 videos and content, stay here with Zero TV. Devil May Cry 5 was, in my opinion, the best Devil May Cry game to date, and I'm really excited to see what the future might hold because, once again, guys, this is another gaming franchise that doesn't really have a lot of ways to connect with the franchise other than that of a single-player story. Co-op modes and multiplayer modes have been rumored for a while with Devil May Cry, but we really haven't seen that come to fruition. So what I want to talk about in this last segment of the show is Devil May Cry 6. And will we see a Devil May Cry 6? And when could we maybe see this title? And what would we like to see in the Devil May Cry 6 title? So let's talk about it. So in an article that comes to us from Connor Trinsky of Screen Rant, during a recent Behind Closed Doors event, Capcom made a mysterious announcement regarding the Devil May Cry series that may or may not be Devil May Cry 6. The well-received Devil May Cry 5 was released only 6 months ago, making the timing of this tease even more intriguing. Devil May Cry 5 marked a long-awaited return to form for the series and became another example of Capcom successfully revitalizing its classic properties. The game sold over 2 million copies in less than 2 weeks, which was downright shocking for a formerly niche action series. That isn't the only massive success that Capcom has had lately either. The fantastic remake of Resident Evil 2 has sold well over 4 million copies to date. The company is also on track to boost its best-selling games of all time even further with the upcoming Iceborne expansion to Monster Hunter World. 2019 has been a banner year for Capcom, and it sounds like the company wants to keep that momentum going in more ways than one. So look, what you need to know right off the bat when we talk about will we see a Devil May Cry 6, a game that sold over 2 million copies in less than 2 weeks, and this was considered to be a niche action series, even though this game was nominated for action, of course, at the Game Awards, and actually won some awards as well, which is absolutely huge for Capcom. But I think we can definitely rest assured that a Devil May Cry 6 is on the way. But how can they make Devil May Cry 6 even better than the fifth one and give us more ways that we can connect with the franchise? You already know what I'm about to say. I'm going to say two things. Number one are like multiple co-op modes and modes that you can like continue to connect with that franchise, and then multiplayer modes as well. It's just ripe for a multiplayer mode, let's be real. In an article also, guys, that was written by Jawad Ali of Segment Next, Capcom has revealed that Devil May Cry 5 performed exceptionally well. The latest entry in the Devil May Cry series exceeded expectations and successfully reinvigorated the brand. Since the brand has been reinvigorated, can we expect a Devil May Cry 6 sooner than before? It would definitely make sense, however, considering the time fans had to wait for DMC5. A new Devil May Cry game so soon seems like a far cry. The company reported record high profit numbers with improvements over the previous fiscal year. This was due to the success of titles like Devil May Cry and Resident Evil 2 Remake. Director Hideko Itsuno said that Devil May Cry 5 performed strongly, particularly in the overseas markets due to the consistent demand. In addition to this, Itsuno mentioned that Devil May Cry 5 managed to sell 2 million units in just 2 weeks after the game's launch. Now, this milestone doesn't come as a surprise because Devil May Cry 5 consisted of everything that the fans wanted to see in the DMC franchise for a long time. Okay, pump of the brakes there. I am a fan of this franchise, and I gotta say, Devil May Cry 5 was the best. However, it did not kind of quench my thirst for multiplayer and other ways that I can connect with the franchise. But nonetheless, it was incredible to say the least. Now, unfortunately, Capcom has also confirmed that they have no plans to release another Devil May Cry 5 DLC, meaning that there's no playable version of Virgil in the works. Since we are talking about DLC, it's worth mentioning that Capcom surprised all the fans recently by releasing a free Devil May Cry 5 DLC called Monkey Business. This DLC brings a new Devil Breaker Monkey Business to the game, which originally released as an exclusive DMC5 item in Japan via Amazon. So, do note that this new Devil Breaker can't be used in the Bloody Palace mode, which arrived as a DLC update of the game. That's pretty much all that's new in Devil May Cry 5. So pretty much though, guys, what we can say at this point is that it doesn't look like they're going to be making more DLC, that being Capcom, which is unfortunate. Doesn't seem like they're going to be doing a multiplayer mode anytime soon, probably no co-op modes and things of that nature. What I'm hoping for is that when we get a Devil May Cry 6, whenever that might be, and I'm going to go out on a limb, guys, and I'm going to say we get an announcement of its existence in 2021. And then we probably won't actually be able to play the game for 1 to 2 years after that. So I'm going to say, guys, 2023 is when we probably can get our hands on the game. Because here's the thing. Capcom knows that they got to strike when the iron's hot. Devil May Cry 5 did really well. So look, they're going to want to bring out, of course, another Devil May Cry sooner rather than later. They're going to want to make sure that they do a really good job with it and such. I just think that what they really need to do is continue adding ways in which we can connect with the franchise, whether that be multiplayer modes or co-op modes, and even an extended, campaign. What would it be like to have semi-open world or open world elements of a Devil May Cry? I think that would be really interesting as well. But will we see the game, guys? At the end of the day, I believe we will, without a doubt. Selling 2 million copies in 2 weeks, that's really impressive. For a game that's now on its 5th iteration of the franchise, just keep going. I think Capcom needs to continue moving forward, strike while the iron's hot. and let's get more Devil May Cry games made. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, guys. Do you guys want to see a Devil May Cry 6? And what would you guys want to see within that game? Any changes? What is it that you guys are mainly excited about? And would you want to see multiplayer and co-op modes, or would you rather just see the single-player story play out? Let me know what you guys think. And for more Devil May Cry 6 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.